But earlier I had on.
We're live. Live 1, 2.
But like,
3.
is it just so I can watch it, or can everybody watch it?
Well, you guys are gonna let us know.
Yeah. So we can see.
You're gonna let us know right now if we're live to you.
Will it start saying people are coming? Or people are here?
Yeah, it says that we're live a few seconds ago. Forgive us if we're live and you're like, what's going on?
I don't know.
Wait, I'll watch from.
You'll see if it's working.
Mm-hmm. Yay! Hi. We're live.
Hi, it's working.
We're working.
It's working.
I'm even gonna check it from mine.
Okay, yeah, check it.
Wait,
hi. They see us.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, you gotta get
Hi.
in more. Hold on.
Wait, I'm gonna move this. No,
I'm gonna put some.
I'm gonna move this way.
Do you have a book?
I do.
It makes us
you want
look
it, like,
better when it's higher up, so it's not from
So
below.
we're like this.
Is that better? Hi.
We're just figuring it out.
Can you hear us okay?
Oh yeah, let us know
Hi,
if
Katie
you can hear us.
Wilson.
Do you want me to get my book?
Yeah, just go.
I mean, it's thin though.
That's okay. Yay! Can you just tell us if you can hear us? Can you just type just to make sure the sound is okay, or if we need to be louder? Hello. Oh, I like that. I like that. That's so pretty. So pretty. You can hear us loud and clear. Hi, guys. Yay! Welcome to the first Facebook Live ABA Q&A.
Well, this is the first one.
This is the first Facebook. I've done a couple Insta Lives, but then I was like, that's silly. This needs to like, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, it's happy hour. It's 5:00 here.
Yep. And she just finished her show and I just had therapy.
Which you know from listening to the podcast, we have the same therapist.
Thomas Jones.
Paradox Process. So ABA, if you haven't listened, is a podcast called A Balancing Act. And Sierra's episode just came out yesterday and it's so good.
People are happy.
People are really enjoying it. And I have friends actually that aren't in the business at all too. And they're like, it's so universal.
That's good.
Which is really fun.
I'm just looking at what people are saying.
Yeah, all the people, they can hear us.
Yeah.
So you can check it out at abalancingact.biz. Also iTunes, Stitcher Radio, all the fun places. Yay for therapy. That is right, Beatrice.
I'm just going to do on my social right now that we're this so that more people come and join us.
Sounds amazing. So maybe grab. Yes, thank you, Sarah, for being so honest.
We're live.
I agree. Thank you. And grab a.
Oh my God.
Is that the air?
That's
it's
the
hot
air.
in here.
The air just came on. It might sound like we're in a thunderstorm.
Wait, but guess where we are? We're in Ripley Greer. So we might even talk about, don't come find us though.
Well, it could be any of the 12 locations.
There are a lot of Ripley Greers. Hi from Chicago. Hi, Elise. So maybe grab like something to take some notes on because there's going to be some good stuff in here. I think there are going to be some truth bombs being dropped. And yeah, so we'll give time to ask questions, have some chats, talk about all things that you're curious about from the podcast or just in life in general as a creative person.
Post it.
Yes. So what you got? Anybody have anything for us? I have a lot of things. So
hi
if you don't,
from Chicago.
That's okay. Cool. This is really good.
This is good. This is what always happens at the beginning of it.
Yeah. Well, I actually have some questions. The last podcast you talked about dealing with hard things. How did you guys deal with stresses of auditions? And Nina, how do you deal with stress of auditions?
I mean, one of the things that I'm really realizing right now is that instead of us pretending like it's not stressful, should I look to the people? Yeah, I'm looking to the people.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you can look at me so I don't feel like left out.
Yeah. So what I would say is, what I was realizing I was teaching the other day to some students all together. And I was realizing that something that we were running into is pretending like it's not stressful. And I think that's something that gets lost along the way is that if you are like, trying to zen out in the waiting room and stuff, it's important to so one of the things that you would do is to not listen to other people that go before you. Don't intentionally talk to them or I don't know. I just get in my own thing. That's within the stress of it. And so I'm not pretending like it's not stressful. So does that make sense? Same, this question coming in, how do you deal with anxiety? For not pretending like I'm not anxious. It's figuring out how to do like this with it, right? And just like,
feel it. Be uncomfortable. Like, it's okay that it's uncomfortable, I think.
Yes, lean into my yoga teacher said that this morning, actually. We were in some crazy pose, and she was like something about like, look, if you're in pain, get out. Yeah. But if you're just uncomfortable, stay in.
That's how I feel about meditation. Like, I'm sitting there and like, I have so much to do and I don't want to sit here and like all the thoughts are uncomfortable. And it's like, that's when I know I should definitely keep sitting.
That's right. As soon as, that's the same with like all the things, like as soon as you want to get out, actually, that's probably when you want to stay in.
Speaking of auditions and like stress of auditions and all of that, I actually have a meditation that I created for auditions. It's 10 minutes long. It's free. It's on my website, balancingact.biz. You just put in your email and you'll get the meditation. And I actually did it myself a few weeks ago before an audition. And I was like, oh, that was really good.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really, it's just like, it gets you back into like, why you're doing it in the first place, which is so easy to forget when you're in the stress and anxiety of an audition.
Yep.
So yeah, I highly recommend that. Can I ask another question actually about auditions too?
Yeah.
On the podcast, you talk about your ice skating background and how that kind of helps you prepare and you don't listen to the person before you. My hardest part with auditions is after the audition. It's like letting it go and not like wonder, like checking my phone all the time and stuff. Do you ever feel that way or like not really? Is it easy for you to just let it go?
It's easy. It's easier to let it go than the preparing to go in.
Yeah.
So I think just the relief is enough, but I'm not a master at like not wondering.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah. I have to busy myself with other things. Like, I have to keep my mind off of it because if I'm sitting at home, I will be like looking at my phone every 2 seconds.
I don't deal with that.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that I'm not thinking about it. But I don't have to like actively. My most stressful is right before.
See, and I'm not like I get really excited. Yeah, because I'm like I get to go be this character for a few minutes. So many ways. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Let me go back up.
Yeah, we did that.
Mine is kind of deep. Yeah, Brianna, you can ask your kind of deep question. Bring it on. How does your love of animals apply to your spiritual practices? You're enough. Well, you get it, girl.
Animals are the best representation of being in the moment. That's what's so heartbreaking about them too, is that, you know, when people, and why I can't understand at all how someone can abuse an animal for a living, you know, people who are like testing on animals for a living. It's like you wake up and go and do that. Animals are inherently in the moment, and yet they will love you even if you like, you know, like someone who like hits an animal, what's wrong with you? But then the animal is like, and then they're like, I love you. So, I mean, that in itself is like just, they are pure unconditional love, representations of unconditional love and being present in the moment. So it's like, there are times when I just will like be with my cats and just observe them because they aren't in stress. And when animals are in stress, you know it must be bad because then you see it and stuff.
And that's why you're a vegetarian too, I imagine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, I watched that documentary with the health the other day.
Oh yeah, that documentary is crazy. I have opinions about it, but it's very one-sided. But it is crazy.
I didn't have to watch. Like, I could just hear it in the background because I don't need to watch the stockyards and all that stuff. I'm very clear.
But did you watch like Forks Over Knives?
No. Should I do that next?
Forks Over Knives and Food Inc.
Food Inc. I want to, but it's not.
They're both on. Oh, it's not on Netflix anymore.
No.
Forks Over Knives is good too.
Okay.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hi, Summer. Hi, Katie. How do you know whether to follow your heart or to follow your mind, what your mind is advising you to do? Within my heart, I feel so much passion about following my dreams to become an actress, and I've gone out of my way to pursue that light I have within me. It feels so right when I'm taking an acting class and learning, and I'm trying to better myself. But I find myself being held back in fear of what is practical or realistic. How do you become the giant over your fear and figure out what your true purpose in life is?
And you're 21.
Bless you. I love you. I love you so much. So whether to follow your heart or follow what your mind is telling you? Well, do you
want to go first?
Here's my thing. I'm all about my intuition, my heart, my gut. If I'm having, if my mind is telling me to be practical and realistic, I know that for me, that's coming out of fear. That's coming from a place of lack. So whatever my decision is, whether it's I want to keep pursuing this crazy career or maybe do something else, I have to feel whole body in line with it. It has to feel good to my soul. And so if it's my head saying, look, now you want to have a kid, it's not practical to do it this way, you should like go find a job teaching at a college and get out of the city, I feel like constriction around that. It doesn't feel, I'm not like, heck yes, that's it. And so that's coming from fear and lack as well. So it's like, so what I do, if I'm feeling like, oh, should I do this or should I do this? My head says one thing, my heart says the other thing, then I don't take action. I wait until I feel like 100% this. And so then I take it on from that huge like macro level of what to do with my life, and I bring it down to the day by day of what is charming to me today? What does my soul want to do today? And I trust that if I do that every day, that my life will unfold in a more beautiful way than I ever could have imagined. I don't know what I'm going to be doing 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And our minds want to figure it out. Our minds are seeking coherence. But we know deep in our hearts. So I would say, just take it day by day and say, what do I want to do today? And then the next day, what do I want to do today? And then you'll watch things fall into place.
I agree with that. And I will say that's like, you can't make a wrong decision. I believe that. Yeah. I mean, you just can't.
The universe will course correct.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It course corrects for us. And at 21, it's your life. You're imagining one thing in a couple years, and in a day, it'll feel different. And if you're taking acting class, you're saying that's like, I feel good when I'm taking an acting class. So that's really good. That's a good thing to know. You feel really good when you're doing that. It doesn't mean anything, though. It means everything and nothing. That's what's so confusing about this stuff. You can't go wrong if you're taking a class and you're putting your entire self into it. And then it's going to reveal itself.
Yeah, it unfolds. Can you, like, when you were 21, is this today, like, where you imagined yourself being?
No, not like this.
Yeah, me neither.
No,
so
but I knew what I was working towards because I was in college for it. So I knew I was working towards some version of this, but
But if you tried to like plan this, like never.
No.
Yeah.
So I think it's unimportant actually. Like that, don't try and get to the outcome. Stay in the work.
Yeah.
The work is serving you no matter what. It's like we talked about the auditions that we did and then we didn't get the outcome that we wanted, but we wouldn't have changed a single thing about it because the work to do that audition was more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great question. That's the kind of stuff I love.
That's the stuff
Hi,
we live
Anna.
for.
How do each of you deal when things don't go as planned?
Listen to the podcast.
Yeah, totally. We talk about it all in the podcast, but we can like just chat a little bit. I mean,
nothing goes as planned, by the way.
Yeah. And often when things do go as planned, you're like, oh, this is it.
This is it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Somebody was telling me recently about the word integrity. And it isn't about, the definition of integrity isn't actually about doing something right or something wrong. It's about, it comes from the word integrate. So it's about, you've made a decision. So something didn't go as planned or something went as planned. It's how well you are integrating, how well you're incorporating, how well you're assimilating the information that you're receiving. So when things, all that to say, when things don't go as planned, how am I integrating the information that I've received, the lessons that I'm learning? That's more important. So if something doesn't go as planned in my life or something feels low, I make sure that while I'm down here, I'm being very aware. I'm not numbing on any level. And if I start to numb, be aware of myself. And that so that I can start being really present with what is down here.
Yeah, and I think you said on the podcast, you're like, okay, so what am I here to learn? Yeah, right. You're like, I'm here, so what am I supposed to learn from this? I have to, okay, I'm so bad at like saying things over. Okay.
Bad.
Really
bad.
Good.
Speaking of the words.
You know the parable about, this is what I'm bad at, like trying to say the parable, but hopefully you'll be like, yeah. Have you heard of this book? No. Where, okay, so like they're in this village and there's going to be a war and like all the men are drafted. And the man is like, oh no, my son's going to be drafted. But then he's like, he's riding on his horse, the son, he's riding on his horse and he falls off the horse and he breaks his leg. And they're like, oh no, you've broken your leg. Oh, but you won't have to be drafted. And then like the story just keeps unfolding, and everything that happens, one thing leads to another, and everything that you think is like it's a horrible thing ends up being a good thing. And the parable goes on over and over and over, and like, and then this happened, but it was a good thing because of this. And I think that every time something goes wrong in my life, I'm like, oh, but this is probably because of that. So that's how I very much like deal with the unplanned. That was horrible. I'm gonna look up this parable.
I feel like you get
and I'm
it,
gonna
though.
post it.
Post it.
In the podcast, you mentioned the idea that you are not defined by what you do and you're not what you have. So it's okay to not have a project going, for example, but then later you discussed a lot about needing a support system. How can you deal with losing your support system as well, or simply not having one? How can you be yourself and find your joy outside of that?
Okay. I have an answer right away.
Please.
My support system is deeply important to me, but I was just doing a job out of town where my support system isn't physically with me. So that really makes me be able to answer this question, which is, you know where your support system is always? In nature. You literally have nature as your support system. The earth is literally supporting us all the time. So get out into nature immediately. That's what I do. If I'm feeling unsupported, let me remind myself that I am here for a reason. I must be supported somewhere. So get out into nature, go lean up against a tree, sit, just be present with grass, whatever it is. Do that. Watch a flower, just literally sit and contemplate like how a flower is doing what it's doing. It'll connect you immediately with a higher reason of living and a divine, something divine. That being said, if you feel like you've lost your support system, those are questions that you can ask yourself of why have I lost my support system? Why am I defining it as I've lost my support system? That's stuff for you to answer. Like, does that mean all of a sudden you have all your friends went away? If that means even if you're not in the same physical place as your people, we have technology. Like, it's easier than ever to get connected with people. It's easier than ever. So don't stay stuck in that story too long. Get yourself out of it. Go seek out good things that are good for you. And a lot of that can even just be, and I don't know if you sing or whatever, you can also just get into a room and start singing some stuff. It connects you.
Yeah.
I know it might sound crazy.
No, I think that's all great. I love the nature. I love that. I love I think that's all really great. And I love that you said don't get stuck in that story, because it's so easy to focus on what we don't want instead of what we do want. That's just like where our minds go. Totally. Our like smaller primal minds go there. But so reminding yourself, like if you are desiring more of a community or support system too, like acknowledge that it's not maybe where you want it to be, but then start focusing on the qualities of what you do want and how you want it to feel. And, take some time in the morning or in the evening to visualize that and feel into that. And then just kind of like watch for little signs from the universe, or watch where suddenly a stranger says hello to you and you're like, that's support. It's maybe not what I thought it would look like, but take a yoga class, let the teacher support you, look for support in other ways, and then it'll just start like flowing to you. I think.
That's good.
Is it too late to pursue singing as a teenager? Nina?
No! Next.
Just sing.
Just sing.
Pursue it. Ellie, what are your opinions about the difference between London and NYC to work as a performer? I am soon to be an MT graduate. That's you, girl. I've never been to London.
You never even been?
I've never been.
What?
I know. But I'm going to Scotland.
That's like one of my favorite places on the planet.
Okay, we have to talk after this. I'm going for a week in August.
Oh my God. Yeah. You guys, start writing her now about things to do in Scotland.
Oh yeah, tell me if you have things to do.
The difference between London and New York, it's not that different, actually. It actually isn't.
I have
that
a friend
different.
I did King and I with who's from England, and he was saying that it's that the unions and stuff aren't very strong over there.
But none of the this is going to be interesting to you right now if you're...
Yeah, you're trying to figure it out. Like, are you trying to decide whether to go to London or to come here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if maybe she'll write more later.
She'll write more.
Okay. Katie says, how would you get over stage fright to pursue singing?
All the things that we talked about in our podcast.
Yeah, meditate, go to Thomas at Paradox Process.
Yeah, and also just what we were just talking about is like part of it is just a mental shift. Instead of going, I have nerves that are because I'm so frightened, it's because change it to I have nerves because I'm so excited. Like a lot of it is just...
It's the same thing physiologically happening in your body when you're nervous and excited.
Yeah.
So you just rename it, like tell another story.
Yeah, try and change that in your head and see if that helps you. Try and start working on just in life, not attaching so much meaning to what other people are thinking about you, because that's the reason you're frightened. Because unless you're telling us I'm frightened to sing in my own room, that's a whole other thing I don't know how to address. But I would bet that you aren't terrified to sing by yourself. So what does that mean? That the only other difference is that other people are watching, and what if other people think? So what if you change that story and cut out the what if other people? Also, some statistic of like 95 or 98% of your fears are not ever going to come true. Yeah. So what's your biggest fear of what's going to happen?
I was
Answer your own
worst
question.
case scenario.
Yeah.
I'm not a big worst case scenario person, but I know a lot of people that helps a lot of people to play out the worst case scenario. Like what happens when you just forget all the lyrics on stage? Worst case scenario, I hum for a while and I get back on. Yeah. I'm the master of making up words.
Yeah. Nobody's going to throw tomatoes at you.
Yeah.
And like, let's play out the worst case. Okay. So somebody then is like starting to throw like things at me. Do you know what is going to happen? Just law of how this works in our industry. If that happens, you think, oh God, it's the worst. I will tell you right now, your fellow actors would come on stage and be like, are you kidding? Like, that's what would happen. So it turned into the best thing ever. So there is no, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
We'll have more support if people were doing that.
Sierra Summer asks, how was your experience on the Hartford stage compared to Broadway?
Oh, the Hartford stage was wonderful because it was a play.
Yes!
Yeah.
Every musical theater actor's dream.
I know, everybody's like, oh my God, you did a play. It was awesome.
How was that different from doing a musical? Like your experience there? Was it very different?
It's different because you don't have to live like a nun.
I was going to say, you don't have to warm every day, go, okay, we're good.
Yeah, I didn't check my voice. I didn't check my voice. It was weird.
So
it took a second to get used to that.
I do that when I have like a week off or something, and I'm like in my car, and I'm like,
yeah,
wait,
and then
I
you're
have to sing.
Oh, yeah,
screw that.
No, we're good. Yep.
God, that's so nice.
It was good.
Annalisa, how is playing Roz? Is it a hard character to get into? Sierra, why do you like yellow roses? And how do you guys click into your characters? I love you, Rachel. You're amazing. How is playing Roz? I love her so much.
So much.
Don't you? I love her. Every day I find like more and more love for her. And today was, I don't know about you. This would be interesting to talk about, but I'm very different every day. I like to find new things and play every day. And today Roz was very high strung.
Oh, Roz.
To the point that in the scene where Dewey says at the beginning of Act 2 that he's going to use drugs or whatever for the parents' night, like, you know, and we can't use drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like,
oh, yeah.
And today I got so upset, like I was about to cry, and I was like, no! And I just did the whole line like I was going to cry, and all the ensemble came off stage, and they were like, oh, that was fun. Okay, that was a choice. That was a choice. Anyway, so it's just really fun to play something quite different from yourself. Why do you like yellow roses?
Because of Barbara Streisand and Funny Girl. That's it.
How do you click into your characters? What do you do? How do you get into character before a show?
Well, I think we have so much prep time, like rehearsal and stuff, that's like, it isn't like one thing that you have to do. It's just, I think also it's very helpful as soon the wig goes on and the costume goes on, it really changes. I can just say, even just from when I was doing Age of Innocence just now, we're in corsets. So as soon as you're in that corset, you're sitting differently, and like, so the physicality of it, I think, comes out. But because we prep so long, it's like you either know it or you don't.
I'm kind of weird. I do a lot of weird things.
Okay, go. That's good. You're getting a lot of different ways of doing,
which is really cool. There's no one like textbook way. But so like before Rosalie enters in the first scene, she's sitting at her desk and has her legal pad. And so I actually like, that's when I start like becoming a Rosalie, and I start writing down like all the things that I have to do that day. And I'm like, the fundraising meeting, and then the parents' night is coming up in 2 weeks, and then the orchestra concert here, and they're not ready for that. And I start to get myself really worked up.
That's awesome.
That's what I do. And actually I watch YouTube videos sometimes because sometimes I forget like the stakes of the school of Forest Green. So I go and I watch like headmasters talk of private schools.
That's so
And
good.
I'm like, this is really serious. We are preparing the future leaders of tomorrow. And it totally like gets me in. I like to do that. I like to do that
so good.
It's really fun. Yes, so fun. Ebba, is that right? You said in your podcast that alcohol wasn't your vice. So
it isn't, which is why we can have it right now. Oh, I like salty and crunchy food.
I like sugar, and so I actually kicked sugar, and I'm on day like 40 something. I've had no sugar.
How do you feel?
I feel so much better.
Yeah.
I actually feel free. It's not even like physically that I feel that different, but mentally I'm not thinking about like, when am I going to get my next high? Of like, oh, on the way to the train, I'm going to stop and get a blank, or like tonight I'm going to have some ice cream. I just like don't think about it, which I love. I love. You like salty and crunchy?
I like salty crunchy.
I guess like Netflix in the past has been a vice for me, like, or like watching TV for a long time, but I also like don't really do that anymore. I'll watch a show here or there, but I don't binge watch things anymore because I know I actually feel worse when I do, and I don't want to feel that way.
It's like once you start getting on to yourself about like how you want to feel, then you can make other choices.
But I think a lot of times we're not aware of that.
Yes.
And so then you're just like, I'm lethargic, so I'm going to lay down and watch TV for a while. And then you feel worse. And you're like, but what the heck? I'm resting, and it's not a good thing. I'm currently struggling with understanding my life purpose. I just graduated college and I have a plan for what's next, but some things have been happening, and it seems like the universe doesn't want me to follow the path. How do y'all deal with things not going as planned, especially when it comes to finding a job, etc.?
Hopefully you listened to when we answered the previous question about things not going as planned. Did you? Because all that we said. And really just trying not to assign too much. I think, is it Wayne Dyer? Maybe it was the one who said about having a goal is great, but attaching to the outcome is where you're going to get really trapped. So don't attach to any outcomes. Just keep being in the work. Keep being in the work, whatever that means to you.
Yeah. Take it day by day.
That can even just be like being present with someone. Like, so I'm seeing someone for lunch today. Be present with them. That's being in the work.
Yeah. Yeah. In the first episode of this season, Jen Waldman, who's a fantastic acting teacher in the city, she talks about Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And so you can go back and listen to that episode too. It's really, really great. He has a TED Talk called Start With Why that it's absolutely amazing. And what you come to find out, and we actually talk about this on the podcast, is like once you know your purpose, then it doesn't really matter what it looks like. So you can be following your purpose and babysitting, or be on a Broadway stage, or be a financial planner. Like it doesn't really matter. So maybe check out Start With Why, that TED Talk by Simon Sinek. And there's a workbook, and you can like really figure out what you're here on this earth to do and to give, you know? Yeah.
That's good.
Jackie, love this podcast. So glad I get to be here. We're glad you're here too. Hi, Trevor Strader. Trevor Strader married me and my husband.
Oh my God. Cool.
Love you. Sierra, can you talk about your "You Are Enough" mantra?
What do you want to know? Yes, you are enough. Starting from the place that the idea is, if you start from the place of trusting, or trying to start trusting that you are enough just as you arrived on this planet, see what comes from it. It's kind of like starting with the why, I guess. It's another version. If you are coming from the place of knowing that who you are is enough, then everything else that you are adding on in this life is like really awesome icing, I think, on life. But you wouldn't look at, hopefully, like a baby or a baby like animal or any flower anything and be like, that's not enough. You aren't enough. You don't deserve. That's what we have to, I think that's what, if we can do that then for those things, then why aren't we doing it for ourselves?
We're so hard
and
on
just
ourselves.
see how that, we are. See how that goes for you for a while.
Yeah. How do you use the mantra like in any specific way?
I will forget about it because I pass it on so much,
and then
I forget.
Ingrained in who you are.
Yes, but then like someone will, if I'm in something and someone will remind me, it's like,
yeah,
hey, remember that person who says that? And like, oh yeah,
yeah, we forget.
But it's basic, which I think a lot of the times is like what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if we're not coming from that place, then nothing's going to unfold the way we want it to. Yeah, that's what we have to start with that. Start with why and start with you're enough. How can you meditate to help appreciate the world and life around you? Well, there's a meditation that Buddhists do, loving kindness meditation. That's like exactly, type in like to YouTube, loving kindness meditation. And it is a beautiful meditation practice where you hold like, you start out with easy subjects like people that you love. You like pick one person and you send them loving kindness and well wishes. And then you go out to like just sort of an acquaintance. And then you go to somebody that you actually have a really hard time with. And you wish all those things for them, and then it's like for the whole planet. That's good. It's a really beautiful meditation.
That's good.
Loving kindness. I think meta. I don't know. Loving kindness. Do that.
Good job.
Hey Sierra, how are you?
I'm
Greetings
good.
from France.
Oh,
Elodie. That's such a pretty name. Oh, good. We answered your question, Brianna. Stephanie, Sierra, how do you keep a sense of balance and spiritual grounding in the crazy, unknown, and sporadic industry of acting?
Everything we talk about in our podcast.
Yeah, girl. A balancing act.
How do I keep a sense of I think it's a practice. I do a lot of yoga because that's physicalizing, that is balancing. Also balancing just as a thing is about patience. So I work on that, being patient with myself, with life, all the things, people. Good. And knowing, yes, it is unknown, and maybe trying to be okay with that it's unknown.
Yeah.
You're going to find it as you go along. Just stay aware.
That's good.
Awake and aware.
How did you get the courage to get into this business? Is it better to go to a musical theater school, or is it possible to make it without?
Both totes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think have the desire within you and then work your ass off. That's what I always say. Because it's fine. It's great. Have the desire, but then you have to want to do the work and find the joy in that.
Yeah. Yeah. But go where you feel led to go. Mm-hmm. There are people in this field who studied philosophy. There are people in this field who majored in Spanish. There are people in this field who didn't go to college at all. There's not one way to do it. Hi, Joseph Smith. Hi, Nicole. Hi, my name is Maddie. Sierra, I first saw you in Phantom for the 25th, and then I saw your Instagram, and you've really inspired me. I'm getting more into musical theater. I had my first real audition a while ago, and it went really well. I sadly didn't get the part. Kept my head on held high. Saying you're enough really helps. Do you have any advice for someone who's kind of new to musical theater? I have auditions coming up soon. Super excited, but a little nervous.
Keep doing the work. Go and sing those songs. You know what's expected of you. If you have auditions, then there's no excuse to not be working on those things. You have time. Go do that. Make sure that it's not just about the sound of your voice. Don't imitate anybody else. Do your version and make sure that you have learned your lyrics, because that will inform you too, instead of just focusing on the sound and how high you can belt or how high you can sing a phantom note.
Yeah, girl. Get my meditation, a Balancing Act .biz, pre-audition meditation, 10 minutes.
Good. Get it.
It's really fun. And also, this is one thing that I love to do is I once said to my acting teacher, I'd been working on something really hard and I was like, I just really want to get the part. And he said, you have the part for the 10 minutes that you're in the room with this material. You have the part. So go be the character. And that's been really informative. And even if you're only doing 16 bars at an open call and you don't have like packets of sides, that's okay. Pick the character that you're auditioning for and be that character for 30 seconds in the room. And then you feel like you're not like interviewing or auditioning for something, and you can feel like you're actually creating, which makes a huge difference.
Yep.
A huge difference. In episode 2 is Mark Price, a meditation teacher. And he talks about how we have to stop giving our power away in the fluorescent light interrogation rooms.
Ooh,
isn't that so good?
That's so good.
And that's how it can be. We can't give our power away. We got to go in, be authentic, and shine our light.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Did you take geography or history in school?
History, yes. I was terrible at it.
I love history. But no, I'm better at it now because everything I know history-wise is through researching a show that I've been in.
Yep, I'd say the same.
I took both, but I don't remember it.
I don't remember it. I never took geography. I don't think that was even a class.
I think like in high school or middle school.
No, not for geography. No.
Wait, where are you from again?
Denver, Colorado.
Oh,
yeah.
I was just there. Okay. Wow.
History.
I feel wiser every time listening to you, Sarah. That's so nice.
Thank you.
I want to hear you sing Music of the Night. Is it possible?
No.
Cool. What kind of training should someone receive to improve their voice? I mean, take voice lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sierra, no, we're not going to ask that question.
I haven't seen it yet.
Last year, I had the opportunity to audition for Angela Weber. Personally, they were considering me for Christine in Love Never Dies tour. Me too, girl. But decided I looked too young. It's hard not to get discouraged when I've been turned down for roles due to my age, since my voice is ahead of my age. Any suggestions for not getting discouraged when you're told you're doing things right, but there's nothing you can do to change the outcome?
Yes, listen to our podcast. We talk about this exact thing. But how great. What a great problem to have. You look too young for the sound of your voice right now. Guess what? You get to age. So if that's a thing and that truly is, then it will eventually even itself out. In the meantime, what can you enjoy about where you're at? What can you take from this? That's like, and if, is this something you can control? If it's something you can control, then get to it, start getting to it, start doing that work. If it's not, then release. If you can't control it, then what is the point? Worry is wasted energy.
Do you have a thing like that? Did you ever have a thing that you were like, it's my blank?
It's my...
Like, it's this thing that's, like, inhibiting me. For me, it was my height. I'm 5'9".
Oh.
And so, like, I would audition for, like, Joanna and Sweeney Todd. I remember I auditioned once, and they were like, come back in, wear flats, and just look as young as possible. Because and I was, like, 25. And
trying to make you into something.
And I got an audition for Glinda in Wicked, and I called my agent, and I was like, come on, I'm 5'9". And this is what he said, act shorter. Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
That's cool.
Where people are telling you to be something that, like, that's something you have no control over.
And you have to let it go. You have to let go that your voice is where it is, and you have to trust that you're going to find those right and perfect parts.
But if I don't know you, but if you're intentionally singing with an older sound, you can change that. If you want to sound younger, you can do that. You can't do anything about your physical height.
Right.
And also, fuck you for saying, you know what you do? You act short,
shorter. You know what? No. Actually, this is interesting. Kelly O'Hara, I did The King and I with her, and she was talking. That's when they were doing that recent Light in the Piazza concert, like 10-year reunion or something. And I was asking her like how it was going rehearsing for that, because that sits so high and King and I sit so low. And she was saying that like, it's so nice to come back to King and I every night because that's where her voice actually sits. And I was like, really? And she said, oh yeah, all that like, the light in the piano. Like, she's like, that's not my real voice. That's like, and I was like, what?
So does she consider herself a mezzo?
No, but just that forward placement.
Oh, okay, I see.
That, because like she'd much rather do the light in the feel, you know what I mean? But like they wanted that younger sound.
So she figured out how to do it.
That's what she did. And I was like, oh girl, that's good.
Ooh, that good.
That's good. I listen to that all the time. Okay. A vain question. Kelsey asks, how do you have such great hair, Sierra?
Oh,
how do you keep it so long and healthy? Relinquish your secrets.
I don't wash it except like maybe twice a week.
Me too. I wash mine twice a week.
It's so good for your hair.
Yeah.
Let your body do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's got it.
Sierra, do you prefer history or geography?
No, I don't.
She says neither.
Oh my God, school. These are making me get hungry.
How do you guys deal with people that you just don't like but still have to work with? That's a really good question.
I mean, it's such a metaphor for life. Like, what are you going to do? You got to learn to dance with it.
Yeah.
Figure out where it goes. Boundaries. Brene Brown talks about the most loving people are the most boundaried people.
That's good.
So figure out what your boundaries are. If it's someone, also you don't have to like everybody. That's a thing that's like we are raised. It's like you have to like everyone. It's no, you have to treat everybody with respect, but you don't have to like everybody. Not your vibration isn't going to gel with everyone's vibration.
Yeah, it's tough though. Sometimes if you're like in close proximity with somebody and you just like have a hard time with. I had somebody in my first Broadway show actually that I shared a dressing room with, and it was just really, really hard. And I would like on the train on the way going to work, I would just visualize like sending her loving kindness, like that meditation I talked about earlier to try to, didn't always work, but that's something you can do.
You feel better. You can manage how you feel, and no one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
Yeah. And you know what? Like if you subscribe to the belief, which I certainly do, that we're all actually one, we're all connected, that person is a part of you and they might be holding up a mirror to something in you.
Oh yeah.
And so the people that we have problems with are often our greatest teachers. Yep. So you can also be like, why am I with this person? What am I here to learn? Like how can I have greater compassion? Or it's a great learning opportunity, even though it's painful. Anna Louisa, I like your name, Anna Louisa. I use your mantra, you're enough, in my social media. I love this quote so much. Do you girls like Game of Thrones?
Yes.
I read the first book.
You did?
I did. It was just the first one.
That's good.
I mean, pretty intense.
I've never read any of the books.
What are some of your vocal health tips and tricks? I struggle with my vocal cords getting dry at the end of longer vocal performances. Do you have any tips for this?
Drink a whole bunch of, be hydrated well before you go on stage. Water drain isn't really going to help that much. It's if you're dehydrated, it's that you've been dehydrated already. So drink a bunch of water. Drink things like coconut water, or sometimes too much water can dry you out. So it's like having something like coconut water is good because that hydrates you.
Do you steam? Do you steam?
No.
You don't steam?
Oh, no, because I didn't want to train myself that I have to have this or else.
Totally.
And I would say that too. I don't know like where you're at in your process with stuff, but try not to train yourself that you need this lozenge, this thing, like all these things, because then if you don't have it, then it's more of a mental game that you have to play with yourself. It's like, oh God, I don't have my thing, so I can't actually do it. Your body, like we were talking about with our hair, it's like your body will do it for you if you're treating it well.
Nice. If you weren't a performer, what would you do for a living?
I would be a life coach.
Surprise, surprise. Bet you were shocked by that answer. A while ago, you said you might be heading to Germany. What's up with that? Did I imagine it? Ebba asks.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'm going to. My sister's gone. No, I'm not going to Germany this year. I think I was, and then I think that fell through.
Oh.
Deirdre, hi! Deirdre was an Age of Innocence.
Oh,
she's amazing.
Old dog here, Lineagic, obsessed.
Hi.
Sydney asks about inappropriateness or bullying happening in the audition room. How do you shut it down tactfully? I mean, I would go to
inappropriateness or bullying in a room, in a rehearsal room. Oh yeah, you would go.
I would go to like the stage manager personally, or company manager, somebody I trust.
If there's actual stuff like that the actors, it's their job to make sure we are safe and okay, then go to those people for sure.
Yeah. Sydney, do you have any bloopers from any show?
Of course.
I'm perfect. I've never messed
Bloopers.
up.
Yeah, I fell crazy hard when I was singing Wishing during Phantom, I think the 25th anniversary, when I did my cape, when she like turns around and capes out, and then the cape, my arms were still out and the cape wrapped itself around my body. I didn't know while I was still this. So then as I go forward, I just went right on down and I kept singing, and I just thought like invoked Maria Callas and was like, what would she do? And I just like crawling forward like, like she's just so sad that she's like, her dad's dead.
Oh God.
It was so dramatic.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then you eventually got out. You got
Then
Twisted.
you figured, yeah.
I fell once during a song called Elegance.
Oh!
Elegance. Literally on my solo line of like the way you keep your pinky up and do
How did
it.
you fall on
I
that?
tripped on my dress. I was like crossing. It wasn't here on Broadway. It was at the North Shore Music Theater.
Oh, okay.
And I was wearing this big gown, and I fell, and I actually couldn't get up. And so Barnaby and Cornelius like zoomed to both sides and like lift me up.
And the audience was like, ha ha ha, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, see,
they love it.
fine.
Well, actually, my parents were there at that show, and they were like, we thought it was on purpose at first, and then we realized you couldn't get up.
See
so
what
it wouldn't have been.
happens.
It's so fun. I love live
wow,
theater.
what a cool choice.
I love live theater. Hey, Becky, girl.
Celia and Olivia are great.
Good. Sarah, what did you get your barber candle?
From Alex Brightman
I'm sure they have them on Etsy.
or something.
What advice, Amber asks, would you give someone auditioning for school to do musical theater? I love you, Sierra.
Make sure that you're paying attention to what their guidelines are. And the difference between auditioning for a musical theater school and like doing an audition here is they really do have guidelines, and they just want to see what it is that you're bringing to the table. So it's not, unfortunately and strangely, it's not even really about the work. It's like, if you're a girl, can you belt and sing soprano? Like, how many avenues do you have? How well do you dance? So I would just get yourself like completely ready. Sing something that you really, really know and love. That's within the guidelines that they're telling you. Girls like definitely have two options. If you do sing in both voices, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Take class.
Break a leg, girl. Yeah. Katie, love you both. Do you guys have a favorite artistic experience?
Yes, mine is Phantom 25th in London, which is available on DVD.
I've seen it. It's on Netflix. Isn't it on Netflix?
It was at some point. It'll probably go back on. But that's
really
that is definitely one of my top favorite artistic experiences. And I feel very fortunate, and it's random that was the thing that was filmed, because we don't work in film. And so it's like, oh, that happened.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think mine would be King and I was amazing, but I actually think my favorite would be I did this musical called Arlington, the world premiere, and I did it in San Francisco, and it was a one-woman musical that was written like it was totally sung through, almost atonal, and it was a woman whose husband had just left to go fight in the war in the Middle East, and literally breaking the fourth wall and like talking to the audience. Wow. And the whole thing was like, it's a funny day, thank God, it's a funny day, thank heavens, oh, don't you just hate the rain, like all
wow.
And then she like slowly starts to crack. It's like an hour long, and it was at the Sam Shepard Theater, the Magic Theater, which was their first musical ever. So it was like, it was the coolest thing I've ever done.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, okay, let's take one more question and then let's wrap it up. When you leave a show, do you take a little something like a souvenir?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. I usually take a piece of jewelry.
Yeah, I have a Roz, do I have Roz pearls? I think I have Roz pearls. Maybe Roz Pearlie. I have It Should Have Been You, her earrings. I actually have full costumes from It Should Have Been You, actually. They
were like real close.
I actually used the bra that she wore for like the beginning of the show, because it's a yoga bra. I used that this morning.
Speaking of bras and underwear, do you just have like a million pairs of nude bras and underwear from your shows? Do you take them ever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
And they all have
ridiculous.
my name in them.
Yeah, and your number.
Don't you ever have my number.
Any tips for shutting off your inner critic?
Tips?
You know what I've been using lately?
What?
I've been saying judgment clear a lot.
Ooh, that's good. That's
It's
from
from
Thomas.
Thomas at the Paradox Process, and I've been replaying this scenario that happened last week, and I've been playing it a lot. Like I wake up in the morning and I think about it. I'll tell you later.
That's good.
And I notice it, and then I go judgment clear, and it kind of like quiets, and then it pops up, and I'm like judgment clear, and it goes away.
That's
what do you
really
do?
good.
Yeah. That inner critic though, sometimes she can be noisy.
She can be noisy. I don't know.
You redirect. There's this
Yeah.
great in psychology, it's like pulling up the weeds and planting daisies. So it's like noticing that thought, because usually our inner critic is pretty boring and says the same few things over and over again, like, you know, you can't sing or you're not that good or whatever it is. And so you pull up the weed, but you can't just pull up the weed, you have to plant a flower there. And so you have to say, I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, or I've been given this gift and I'm going to share with the world, or whatever it is. So like notice the inner critic, pull that weed, and then plant a daisy.
Also realize that it's like your brain's job is to make you feel safe, and that's your mind, and that's it's up to
protecting you.
Yeah, it's up to you if you want to listen to it. But if your mind was an actual human friend, you would never go to that friend for advice, because within the same minute we could sit here right now and not speak, and each of us would have a story going on in our mind, and it would be telling you one thing, and then within 30 seconds it's going to tell you the other side of it. It is constantly chattering. So it's up to us if we want to listen to it or not. And if it's criticizing me to a point where I don't feel good, then now it's like, why am I listening to it?
Yeah, and that's when you like call Thomas.
That's
and you're
right.
like, I need to set up a session.
That's right.
Or I call a friend.
I think something I've learned as I've gotten older is I really do care about how I feel. And if it doesn't make me feel good, if it's not, and even if I'll learn that later, it's like, oh, that didn't make me feel good. That's not within my integrity, myself. Doesn't matter. It's like, instead of staying in why would you do this? It's not that. It's like, okay, so I can make that choice next time. It's like, do you have control or not? And if you do, you take control. And if you don't, chill it out.
Yeah. It's a practice though. It's practice, like hearing and being aware of it. It's really good. Okay. Any last moment things, but now my inner voice has been speaking up about all the things that could happen there and back home in a negative way. Do you have any tips?
So bright all of a sudden.
How to deal with that? So the fear and urge to cancel. Oh, you're coming by yourself. You got this. I travel by myself. It's really empowering, actually.
Mm-hmm.
New York City is actually a really easy city to get around and like figure it out. Ask people on the street for any help with things. And like it's exactly like Sierra said, your inner voice that's there to protect you. It just does a crappy job because it just sees the glass.
Yeah,
not half full. Half empty.
Empty. Enjoy and give yourself the gift of enjoying your alone solo trip to New York City. Why not? What's your other option? Those bad things might happen that you've created in your mind or whatever. Okay, so how would you want to feel? Like how do I want to feel? Care about how you feel. Don't miss the opportunity of being in New York because you decided to attach meaning to some thoughts that may or may not happen. Don't miss out. This is for everyone. Don't miss out on your life because you are telling yourself narratives of things that might not be good for you.
Yeah, dude. Oh, we got a heart. We got a heart for that.
We got a heart.
Sierra,
what's behind the shake and bake thing? Oh, that Ramin and I do shake and bake. That's just a quote from that movie. What's the movie with Will Ferrell? Shake and bake. Talladega Nights.
There you go.
We bonded over Will Ferrell. There you go. Yellow roses and
thank you for your time, because you're a light and you've just shown it with this world. Check out balancingAct.biz. You can listen to our podcast, share it, subscribe, and then also go to sierraboggess.com and become a part of her amazing community, her amazing I Am Enough community. Get on her list. And Thank you. Thanks so much for
And
hanging
go
out
see
with
School
us.
of Rock and see her do
Yes, School of Rock. Come check it out. Okay. Bye, you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. And